Alabama absolutely dismantles Wisconsin. Here's what we know the morning after the Tide defeat the Badgers. Stick around. Let's talk about it. Grab a chair. This is Way Off Sides. 3, 2, let's go. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever the case may be. Welcome to Way Off Sides. Don't go anywhere. We got a juicy one today. Alabama defeats the Wisconsin Badgers 38-14, but that doesn't tell the entire story, so I'm going to read it to you. It's story time with Cotton. Thanks for joining us here at Way Off Sides. If you're new here, let me tell you about us. Have you heard about Way Off Sides? Well, you have now. We do everything everybody else does. We just do it a little different around here. We try to add a spark of funny as well as, we don't take ourselves too serious. We're just dudes with cameras and microphones having a good time. So if you want all of your Alabama information in one place, you found it, friend. You found the place. It's as easy as going over, leaving a big roll tide in the comment section below. Let me know where you're watching from. Hit the subscribe button if you subscribe. Put subscribed in the comment section below. Big capital letters. Let me know you subscribe. That way we can feature you on our live this week. 8 p.m. Thursday. We got a big live coming up. No Alabama game this week, bye week. Thank goodness we need it. But we'll be previewing some other stuff. We got a ton of content coming out about SEC quarterbacks, about Notre Dame. We're going to pick on them a little bit. Vanderbilt. Old Vandy. We got to talk about that game. We got to talk about Georgia. A lot coming up. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it all. I'll be coming out today, tomorrow, and Tuesday. Anyway, back to Alabama, because that's who you're here to talk about, right? Let me get a big roll tide. Hype. I'm hype. I'm always hype after a W, and yesterday was a big one. The point spread wasn't as sufficient as last season when Alabama went up to Madison, Wisconsin, but Alabama ran the ball a lot better. Foreshadowing things we're going to talk about. They ran the ball a lot better last year because big part, Jalen Milroe, and then this year they did not have Jam Miller in this game. However, there were some instances to where this score could have looked a lot worse than what it was. Not to say 38-14 is not a beatdown, because it is, especially when we start getting into the team stats. So let's do just that. Alabama finishes with almost 500 yards of total offense, 454. A huge chunk of that comes through the air. 382 comes through the air. Ty Simpson, Alabama starting quarterback, was magic in this game. If it wasn't for a couple of drop passes, Ty would have almost been perfect. He went 24 of 29 for 382 yards and 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Ty Simpson, knock on wood, has yet to throw an interception this year. Nobody's talking about that because they're too busy talking about the quarterbacks who got all the preseason hype and now are stinking up the room. We'll talk about that in another video too today. Looking at you, DJ Lagway, looking at you, Arch Manning, looking at you, Lenore Sellers, looking at you, Garrett Nussmeier. And so, but Alabama just absolutely destroys Wisconsin through the air, which is interesting because all we heard about coming into this game was how good their pass rush was going to be. And Wisconsin's pass rush was pretty good in this game. It wasn't bad. They kept constant pressure on Ty Simpson, it felt like at times. But what Ty did a really good job of in this game was his decision-making. And I don't think that's going to get enough love. I don't think, when we look at a game, we can look at all these numbers. We can look at the score, and that tells part of the story. But you have to actually watch the game to see the other part. And what I saw yesterday from Ty Simpson was pretty dominant. And I feel like it would be dominant against most defenses in college football if he can continue that level of play. Now, his wide receivers were helping him out. He did have one big dropped touchdown pass, as well as, I think it was a touchdown pass. I can't remember. I might be mixing that up with ULM. But Latsier Brooks also dropped another big one that could have padded those numbers. But still, the wide receivers played really well. Ryan Williams had his coming out party via his return. Everybody's talking about the one drop. Get over it. It happens. he still had 5 receptions for 165 yards and 2 touchdowns. Welcome back, Hollywood. So, Mr. the Showstopper, baby, he did some show stopping. Absolutely. If you have not seen the play with the little sidestep, jump, skip back, away from the sideline to send a Wisconsin player over there on skates, you need to go see that. It was beautiful. It was cinema. It was beautiful. It was absolutely gorgeous. Outside of Ryan Williams, how the wide receivers do? Great. Everybody ate. Everybody got fed on Saturday. Jeremy Bernard recorded 4 catches for 62 yards and a touchdown. Isaiah Horton had 5 catches for 48 yards, including one, amazing touchdown. The throw looked like something Tua would have done. Latier Brooks got some receptions. He had 2 for 30. He did drop a big one, like we talked about. Kevin Riley was used in the passing game, which was kind of fun to see. He had one really tough catch where he got walloped, held on to the ball. Josh Cuevas, of course, is going to get his. Draylon Washington recorded a reception, and so did the big man, the true freshman, Caleb Edwards. Alabama passed the ball around, y'all. Like, everybody got a piece of it. Everybody got a piece of it. And it felt like Ty was just in this zone where he was on fire. And we knew this was coming. We knew it was coming. I know what the opposing fan bases are saying on your social media accounts. It's Wisconsin, settle down, blah, 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 blah. Rabble. You know why they're saying that? They're saying that because they're scared. They're scared of what they saw from Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson right now is playing like the best actual quarterback in the SEC. That's not a hot take. He is. Right now, he is playing like he is the best quarterback in the entire Southeastern Conference. I said what I said. But it's true. Right now, his decision-making is lightning fast. He's getting comfortable, which should scare defensive coordinators. The one big mistake I saw him make yesterday was on, I think it was Alabama's first drive. It was a 4th down conversion. He kind of rolls out. He's got Cuevas for a couple of seconds. Misses him. Doesn't throw it to him. I think he tried to pick it up on his leg with his legs, and he was short. After that, he was just pulling the trigger. He was quick about it. He was reading that defense. He was reading what they were giving him, and he was lighting dudes up. It was gorgeous. It was gorgeous. Now, we've talked about Ty Simpson till I'm ad nauseum. Let's talk about Wisconsin. Wisconsin did not have their starting quarterback. We know that. But I told you guys coming into this game that Danny O'Neal had a higher completion percentage than the other guy. I can't remember his name right off the top of my head. But O'Neal came in, completed 11 for 17 for 117 yards and 1 touchdown, but he threw 2 interceptions, both to Bray Hubbard. Bray Hubbard, Keon Sabb were 2 guys I noticed who were playing lightning fast. They were playing with their pants on fire Saturday, all over the place. Very quick. The intensity level from those 2 was up there. Up there. If that's something they can sustain and bleed into a couple of these other guys on the defense, because we're going to talk about that, look out. Absolutely look out. In terms of rushing, they did not run the ball well. They had one guy who was getting 5 yards per carry, a couple guys who were getting around 4 yards per carry, but Alabama did a really good job. We knew that Wisconsin was going to try to run the ball. I think overall they finished with just under 100 yards rushing, 92. Yeah. And then 117 through the air. A big chunk of that 117 came off of that 1 touchdown play where Xavier Brown kind of got smoked there at the end, which I don't think he got smoked. I think that ball was just put perfectly, which won't always happen. But defensively, Alabama played a really good game, except towards the end. Towards the end, Alabama started to kind of look like what we saw before, where they started taking their foot off the gas. I didn't like what I saw and how they finished the game, and that sentiment was echoed by everybody in the post presser. That is, I think, my biggest takeaway from this game is that's the first thing Kalen DeBoer said afterwards, was that he did not appreciate the way the team finished. He didn't think they finished as they should. And then the players echoed the same sentiment. Ryan Williams said it himself. He said that it felt like things kind of started to go downhill after his big drop. And so he put it on him. Well, on the defensive side of the ball, guys kind of started dogging it a little bit. It didn't look great. The pass rush, the kind of fell off towards the end, even though Kane Wommack got super blitz heavy towards the end of the game. Now, on the other flip side of that coin, defensively, earlier in the game, Alabama's pass rush looked really good. They were doing a good job at getting the quarterback to the ground, which is something they've been emphasizing, something I'm going to assume they're going to continue to emphasize. I told you the one guy that I'm really excited about that I think could eventually step into that money down role in terms of pass rush. He got he got him a sack. Yanze Pierre, Quay got a sack. LT Overton got one, and then London Simmons, who everybody's really, really excited about. Overall, Alabama's defense looked fantastic, except towards the end of the game, they kind of started dogging it a little bit. Deontay Lawson looked really good. I do think that there's some issues with the play calls getting in a little late. I think this is something that happened at FSU. It's something Malachi Moore talked about last year and said was a little bit of a problem. So I do think that that's part of the reason Kane Wommack's down on the sideline. It's also something that he needs to address ASAP and get fixed. So if you're in the media department and you have access to these pre-practice or post-practice interviews, please ask. So ultimately they look good. Now, the one area of concern for Alabama outside of them kind of taking their foot off the gas towards the end of the game was, you guessed it, the running game. Alabama only ran for 72 yards in this game. I don't think they've run for over 100 yards yet. Maybe they did against ULM last week, but they definitely haven't had a 100-yard rusher in a game. And Alabama seemed to have abandoned the run here. Now, that is going to be a talking point for Alabama fans moving forward, because we all like to run the football. I get it. I know. I agree. By the way, Ty Simpson led the team in rushing. 6 carries for 25 yards. Kevin Riley looked really good at times. Again, he had 7 carries for 20 yards. Draylon Washington had a couple of carries. A.K. Deere looked really good when he came in late in the game. Richard Young did not play well at all. Richard Young was kind of getting blown up in pass pro, and so that's another issue. But in terms of running the ball, Wisconsin's, it's obvious that their game plan was to stop Alabama's rush attack, and they did a really good job of it. And at a certain point, Alabama decided they were going to try to beat this team through the air, and they certainly did that. They're going to need to do that, here in 2 weeks when they go to Georgia, because Georgia's going to do the same thing. They're going to stop the run. That's going to be their emphasis, is stopping the run. A lot of other SEC teams are going to do the same thing, but the confidence is growing in the fact that, there was a lot of people who said that Alabama can beat you in multiple ways. And I think they can. I think there's some truth to that. Watching Ty Simpson, I have confidence that he can beat a team through the air. He's got the wide receivers to do it. The offensive line is showing improvement week in and week out, which is what you want. It's exactly how the offensive line operated last year, and they got better as the season went on. Same thing with the defense, complementary football. I get it. Yes, it was a bad Wisconsin team, but we're not talking about Long Island University here. We're talking about a team with 300-pound defensive linemen who know how to stop the run. That's what they pride themselves on. I told you guys going into this game that offensively, they weren't up to snub, but defensively, this is a good defensive team. And again, Alabama almost put up 500 yards of offense on them. So feeling pretty good about where the Tide is. There's obviously some things that need to be worked on as the Tide move forward. I'm sure the coaches have this figured out. We've got 2 weeks. Really interested to see what you think the team needs to work on over the bye week. So leave that in the comment section below. While you're there, of course, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Get us to be the #1 Alabama channel here on YouTube. You can do that. You have that power. So help us do that. As always, love each and every one of you. Hug somebody today. It's Sunday. Say your prayers, get in the word a little bit, wash your hands, horns down. Beat Auburn and LSU and Tennessee too. Roll Tide.